So this is, gosh, been a while since I've done a video, but it's funny how these just kind of pop up. This one, I'm going to title it, Just Show Up. And it's kind of like that's become my, it's funny when I do these videos, they're almost all just quotes from the great Vedanta Hindu path, Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Shankara, maybe the great Buddha. And maybe I'll refer to those quotes, but this is more of, I always swore that I wouldn't be talking about myself, but this is just kind of how a lot of that refined down to a slogan that I use, and it kind of created a simplicity with all the applications. It also shows a commonality of all religions, which if you watch these, you know that that's really important to me. No dogma, the fact that all paths can lead to truth, consciousness, God. And so this is my mantra, just show up. And if you think about it, I remember once I read somewhere, it was on some website or something, but it's talked about a lot that in America people expect instant gratification. And the fact is, it just doesn't work that way. You know, you want to go on a diet, you just got to keep doing it every day for a while to get a result. Same with exercise. How many people have said, I want to do a marathon, but do they, if you just show up every day and do your runs and continue to develop and grow, you'll probably achieve that goal. Same with starting a business. I like the idea of sports and that oh boy, they're about 40 years ago when my second son was born, and I'll never forget it because I had gotten so out of shape and so overweight. And I remember when he was born, just that pure love and also the responsibility you have. And I remember thinking, I better take care of myself because I got a responsibility here for my son. And I went and bought a pair of running shoes. Now anybody that knows me knows I'm a terrible runner, but I think I made it 100 yards. No joke, that's as far as I could go. And then I walked 100 yards and went home. But the fact is, even then, you just keep showing up. You keep showing up. And one day you go, hey, I ran a mile, or I ran 2 miles. I should call it slogging. Slow jogging was mine. But you just show up. And one day you turn around and say, wow, I ran a marathon. Or whatever it was that was your goal. And the same with starting a business. You just show up. I had a great business partner once. I thought it was a really cool statement. He said, you just never know if you're going to get the full result. You never know exactly how it's going to happen, but you just keep showing up and you resolve whatever is in front of you. He was so right. He was so right. So that's kind of one of my basic slogans or mantras. Just show up. And when I'm in the middle of something, in fact, I'm going to just thank this man, his videos are really, really good. And one of the things I really like about him, he shows application in today. This guy's he's around now. He's the senior monk at the Ramakrishna Center in New York. And one of the things he's really helped me see is he's always describing that there's just going to be stuff going on in life, so don't get stuck in it. And so this slogan, this just show up, kind of even helps in that, so what if something's going on that's kind of a challenge? It's temporary, just keep showing up. If your path, you can apply that to anything in life. I'm of course talking about and applying it to your religious or your spiritual path and search. But anyway, I just love this man, and I just wanted to put out there. And since I did that, I might as well put these books out there. I'll refer to all of them. I think they're great. And if you just show up and start reading a book, and if you find these paths interesting, great. If you want to follow another path, whatever that may be, good for you too. But I'll just use that same slogan, just show up and keep going. When I first started, back to these books, I read this book on meditation. And I believe it was the great Swami Vivekananda, 1900 or so, who said, just give it a shot. to me, that's an application of just show up. He said, here's meditation, find a way to do it. And he said, here's a couple options, and just do it every day for 2 months and see what happens. So just show up every morning and every night and give it a shot. And I did that. Just like that running example, I went for 5 minutes. That was almost torture, but I just kept showing up, and boy, am I thankful I did. So I think sometimes I think when I first started reading, it's all so complex, but you just keep showing up. Maybe you reread a book, maybe you were just meditating every day, just like on the exercise every day. I thought it was really interesting. I mentioned this before, that the quarterback for the Notre Dame football team had a little mantra. It's the first thing he did every morning, and it was something to the effect of, I think, did I move closer to God that was step one, did I move closer to God today? Step two was, something like, did I communicate with my family? Did I help others? Did I serve others? I'm misquoting him in many ways, I'm sure, but that's an example of a basic slogan or mantra that kind of refines it all down. And I think that's really great. And I will say this, that when I read a lot of these books from India, I heard a lot about the concept of religious discipline and then religious practice. My idea now is, and I've looked these up and you can get all sorts of different definitions, but my idea in today's words of religious discipline would pretty much be just show up. Maybe I should add, and be a good person, and we all know what that means. We know it. Yeah, we know how to be. Don't be critical, don't be hostile, don't be this, don't be that. But the bottom line is just show up, and I equate that to religious discipline. Show up every morning and meditate, if that's your path. Maybe it's go in prayer. Maybe, and I've heard, many of friends have told me about their path, whether it's Christianity, Judaism. I've had clients practicing Muslims, and they each had their just show up viewpoint. And I equate that again with religious discipline. And then, of course, the just show up leans right over into then your religious practice. What are you going to be doing? For me, I just love meditation. I just absolutely love it. Yeah. And as I said, I was just reading about Warren Buffett, the great investor. And in a way, he said, what's the basic? And there was one other great investor that said the same. But it's the same in sports. Those who can focus, to me, you can't just show up unless you can maintain focus. And in meditation, you're learning focus. So it's fascinating. That was a mantra for him. Focus, stay focused, and you can achieve anything. Well, in religious practice, if you just show up and do those steps, and in my case, early on it was a lot of reading. Now I occasionally refer back to them, but I'm always meditating. And when I go through maybe a tough stretch or something I'm having to deal with, I go back to just show up, do my meditation, possibly refer to a book. And it works. And I think when I think about all the religions, it seems like, and spiritual paths, it's pretty much the same. And I'll say a couple other things on that religious practice that maybe are more personal, but they work for me. Maybe somebody's going to laugh at these, but one day in the meditation I went, well, you know what? Here's a new slogan or mantra, and that was stop thinkingness, which, if you think about it, in the great Buddha, under his 4 immeasurables, you gain an equanimity, as he called it, or a mindfulness about the mind. And I would say that would apply. Stop thinking about things. Stop trying to figure things out through thinking. I call it thinkingness. Just go back to the same old, just show up, do your meditation, because all the answers are here anyway, And if you just continue to meditate, possibly read something, it will all sort out and you will get your answer. So stop thinkingness is one, and the other one is quit beating myself up. Don't worry about mistakes. I'll go back to this guy. That's one of the things he says too. Just let it all go. Quit grinding on the mind. Don't beat yourself up. The answers are in you. Meditate, live in consciousness, God, and do that every day, every day, every day, and your life will change. And I think that in many ways, I have these notes here, but if you look at the four immeasurables of Buddha, I believe it's saying the same thing. And you continuously shift away from stuff and you find out who you really are. That divinity within, that divinity without, it's everywhere. And just continue to meditate. Well, I don't even want to say, because maybe your path is prayer. So whatever that religious practice is, meditation, prayer, maybe even the exercise, maybe taking care of animals or the environment is your religious practice. I should add, serving others. Take your attention off self and gain the bigger picture. And I more and more admire that whole idea of serving others. I think I've told this a couple times, but I have in consulting doctors, how many were very religious and how many would practice around the world, in third world countries especially, whether it was surgeons or a lot of dentists did this. I can't remember the name of what they did, but they would go and do free to serve others. Talk about religious practice. Oh my goodness, I think that's so great. And I just heard this morning about another application of that. And that was something apparently started by Dwight David Eisenhower, and that's where people that were teachers or scholars or librarians, I'm missing the exact application, and they would team up with other countries to I guess you could say, cross-pollinate culture, and they would meet and discuss things about the cultures and about life to try to integrate that unity of man. That's religion. That's religious practice. And that puts your attention, if you think about it. I've heard this so many times, and I had to meditate a lot on this. What does it mean to have your attention on consciousness or God? Well, serve others. That puts your attention on the bigger picture, and it takes your attention off ego sense. And that's religious practice. So anyway, I thought this was kind of interesting. I liked it, just that whole idea of, it kind of reminded me of the complexities of when I first started reading, and maybe that's why traditionally in the religions of India they talk about finding a guru, because in the beginning there's a lot of complexity, and then after a while it just starts to simplify as we gain truth. So for me, there they were. I'm just looking at just show up, stop thinking without it all. Don't beat yourself up. Just show up, do your meditation, serve others, help others. They have the Eightfold Path, they call it in Buddhism. So there it is, the Eightfold Path in Buddhism, and the Four Immeasurables in Buddhism. In Hinduism, Vedanta, they've got their path and their mantras, and it's just fabulous. So that's mine. Just show up. All right, there you go.